So welcome to the final session of Living Life to the Full. This is session 6 and I am absolutely delighted that you have been able to join me for all of these sessions. I hope that you have taken a wee journey with me during Living Life to the Full. And this week we are going to look at 2 books. So we are going to look at 1, 2, 3, Breathe, and Are You Strong Enough to Keep Your Temper? And then 10 things that you can do to feel happier straight away. So this is a great session. It's actually one of my favourite sessions out of Living Life to the Full. So excited to get started on this one. And the first thing we're going to look at is, are you strong enough to keep your temper? So what is it that would send you off on one? What would make you like lose the rag, or, you know, lose a handle on things, or go into a tantrum? What kinds of things would set you off? So we're going to look at a few wee examples. Things that generally people have said before. So maybe, you know, somebody laughing at you, somebody not listening. When somebody answers you back, usually our kids or spouses. People use bad grammar or don't spell things properly or use capital or small letters in the wrong places. Just people who wind you up. Somebody's winding you up. People who tell lies, don't tell the truth, or sort of adjust things. They're not saying it just exactly as it was, or misrepresent something. Other drivers. So you could be someone who's out and about and it really riles you when somebody pulls out in front of you, or they don't say thank you when you let them out at the traffic lights, or they're speeding, whatever it is. Loud music. So if somebody is playing loud music, people don't do what they're told. So when somebody doesn't do what they're told, or they ignore you. And then we've 2 big things. We've got other people. So we get really annoyed with other people. They really wind us up. And then we might have one particular person. So there could be one particular person in your life that really gets you, that really just gets you going and causes you to go into one. All right. These things are all what we call your buttons. So you'll be very familiar with the expression that says, he just pressed my button, or they just press my button. So we all have buttons and they all get pressed from time to time. Everybody loses their temper. If you think you're someone that doesn't lose your temper, then you might learn a wee bit more about yourself maybe during this session, okay? Because temper isn't always expressed the way you think. So we're going to look at, is it weak to stay and argue? So let's look at, it's weak to stay and argue. Do you agree with that statement, or do you disagree? Are you at home saying, no way, absolutely, it is not weak to stay and argue. I need to stay and make my point. If I don't argue with this person, then they win, and I'm giving up, or I'm giving in. Really? Is that the case? Or do you end up maybe escalating the situation and it turns into something that you hadn't anticipated? What generally happens here is, if you stay and argue, the person you're arguing with is already on a vicious circle. You have now been triggered and you have reacted, your button has been pressed, and now you are coming at them on your vicious circle. So what happens is there are 2 vicious circles that meet together, and that doesn't generally work out to a positive solution. Let's look at another statement. It's strong to walk away. Do you agree with this statement? Is it strong to walk away? You could be sitting there going, no way, absolutely no way. I would never walk away from a situation. I would stay until it's sorted. Similar to before, but slightly different. When you walk away, what happens? Are you calmer? Does it give you an opportunity to maybe reflect, to think about what has happened? to calm down, to let that response in your body calm down, which we said earlier in one of the sessions that it can take you up to 20 minutes for that adrenaline just to settle back down in your body and your body to return to a feeling of calmness. It gives them time to calm down as well. So it's good sometimes for you to step out of the situation and give that other person time to calm down. Then you can go back and have a conversation with them. The difference in having a conversation when you're on a vicious circle and when you're not on a vicious circle is that you're either in control or you're out of control. So if we look at the difference between aggressiveness and assertiveness. So these are two very different things. If you are being aggressive and you are arguing or attacking, generally we will say you know, and we'll start a thing with you always do that, you did that, you da. When you throw the word you at somebody, that's an attack automatically, and they will defend themselves. And they will do that by either shying away and hiding or coming at you with attack. So it ends up in a vicious circle. So you lose control, they lose control, and thing escalates. If this happens, easiest thing to do is say, okay, I've lost it. We all lose our temper. You could be sitting there now thinking, oh my God, I lose my temper all the time, or I lost my temper yesterday, or I lost my temper this morning before I've even done this session. That's okay. We all lose our temper. We can fix it. We can, one, just recognize I have lost my temper. And two, we can go back to that person and just say, look, I lost it earlier. I was on a vicious circle. Can we talk about this now that I've had time to reflect? Because the other side is if you are being assertive. If you're being assertive, then you are in control. You've had a chance to reflect or resolve the situation in your head first. You have a chance to think about, right, okay, what was it that happened there that really set me off? And what is it about this situation that I can go back and resolve? And think about, before you have a conversation with somebody, whether this person is actually capable of this conversation. And I remember a lot of people just saying, pick your battles. Is this a battle worth standing up to, or is it better to walk away? Sometimes it's really, really important that we stay and we make our point. And that's different to staying and arguing. So when we're assertive, we're in control and we're expressing ourselves. So that's good for our self-esteem and it's good for our confidence, and it means we're not sitting with something. Okay? So let's look at if we have been riled, okay, we've been set off. What is it that set us off in the first place? Every single one of us has what we call individual buttons. So you need to know, what are your buttons? What are your specific buttons that might set you off? Some of these buttons might be when people laugh at me, when I have too much to do, when I'm being ignored, when I'm not being listened to, when I feel got at, when I feel frustrated. You can add to this list. We're going to take a moment now at the end of this video and you're going to start writing down. This is part one. This is know your buttons. So step one, know your buttons. Take time now to write down, what are your specific buttons? Who is it that presses your buttons? What is it that presses your buttons? Are there particular times? Are there particular places? And what are the things that really set you off? Okay, and these are specific to you. So take a look at that, start jotting those down, and come back to me for the next video as soon as you're ready.